Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Chat Rewind Podcast, episode number 4. I'm your host, Edwin Visander, and today's guest, we got Jiyani Bright. Please
Hi.
introduce yourself.
Hello. I'm Jiyani. Yeah, that's really it.
All right. Don't like to be too wordy. I can respect that. How are you doing today?
I'm decent for the most part. Nothing too serious has been going on, so yeah, it's all good.
I'm in a pretty good mood today. Just did some stuff yesterday that got me in a good mood. Got back to being a DJ again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. You should send me some beats. I want to listen to some.
Beats?
Wait, did I say beats? Oh, no, not beats. But you should send me some of your stuff though, like in general, because I actually want to listen.
All right. I mean, I'm a songwriter. I make songs and stuff. I think I stated that in the last podcast, but
Okay.
As for the future, oh yeah, speaking of music, the future of my music of this channel, I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna phase this channel out only for podcasts, and then I'm gonna make a separate channel for music. The same thing will happen for Instagram. I've been using both Instagrams for music, really, but I think that I will eventually phase my main to be like for podcasts, and then my backup or whatever, just for music specifically. I think that'll be easier because actually someone gave me that advice a few days ago, and I was thinking to myself, and I thought about it for a few days. And while I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good idea.
Do you make music yourself?
No. I have been told that that's not true. Let me stop lying. But I mean, I personally think that I'd be okay at it, but it's just not really my thing. So yeah,
it's all right.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that sounds like a good idea though, to separate your music from your podcast, so you don't really get mixed up a lot. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Also, to those watching, if you want to collab in my new album, which I'm hoping to drop by August or so, who knows? I don't even know when it will drop. Like I stated earlier, I don't know when it will drop. I've just got so much stuff to do and to think about. Well, whenever it drops, it drops. I'll just say that. But if you want to collab on it, just let me know. I've stated my Instagram. Best ways to contact me is probably through there, and Snapchat, which I might link. I don't know yet, but for right now, just DM me on Instagram, and everything will be good. And the same thing goes for the podcast. Again, if you want to collab on there, or if you want to do a segment with me, just let me know.
Yeah, something tells me this podcast is going to be very interesting.
Oh, yes, it is. Although I want to branch away from political stuff a lot more.
Yeah.
If you noticed I mean, today might be a bit political because I'm going to be talking about climate change, but
yeah,
I feel like that is important to talk about.
Right. Yeah,
but
I got you. No problem.
That's just an idea of what today will be like. But I think eventually what I'm going to do, I'm going to start a branch away from political stuff unless I absolutely have to talk about it. Although I do like politics in general, I just want to, for this podcast in particular, I want to branch away from it eventually.
Yeah, because it's me. That's why.
Not really. That's not the reason why. The reason why is I've noticed that I've also taken some people's criticisms to consideration, which is don't really do politics too much because A, that's too controversial, B, it's too redundant, and it's always being overdone.
Yeah. Also, I feel like when people are listening to podcasts, they don't really get into politics, because if they wanted politics, they just watch the news or something like that. When it's like a podcast, they want to hear something interesting, I guess.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
But I
that's
also
my
want to
point
use
of
the
view.
podcast as a platform to educate and to give
Hmm.
my opinion. So,
Yeah.
because before I didn't really felt like I could have like a big impact. But now that I've seen that a lot, like I said in the last podcast, now that I've seen that that a lot of people are spreading their voice a lot more, I decided that the best way to do that for me is to start this podcast.
Yep, and I 100% agree. You keep doing that, man.
All right, let's start with all that out of the way. I believe we should start with our very first topic, which is serious, and that would be climate change. Now, you see it everywhere in the media, and it's being talked about everywhere in political debates, like, oh, climate change this, climate change that. Let me just say, I do believe in climate change. I fully believe it. I've seen what's going on, and I've looked around the world, but yeah, I don't think this will end anytime soon unless we drastically change stuff. Now, if you notice, one thing that in the research that I was doing, which is, as you can see, this tab up here, I was doing research earlier, and I found out that most, like, the 48 states, 48 out of the 50, well, 51 because of DC, and that's another thing I'll get into today. DC becoming a state, but we'll get to that later. But for right now, 48 states apparently, the data shows that there was an increase in temperature since 1908, which is, I mean, that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
It
right.
sounds normal, right? Well, the thing is that ever since 1988, 8 out of the 10 warmest years on record are in recent memory. Now, if that's not alarming, I don't know what is. Well, if you're not alarmed by that, I'll tell you something else that's alarming. I believe this one was last year. There was a piece of an ice glacier, right? And apparently, part of it was actually split off, and it was kind of floating around near Chile and the South Arctic Sea, around that area, right?
Right.
And again, it's because of global warming and climate change.
Exactly.
That's all because of that. You also noticed up in the Arctic, there's a whole bunch of photographs that, if you look at the Arctic back in 1982 and you look at it now, the Arctic looks completely shrunk. Looks like it's completely shrunk.
Right.
Like, what's up with that? It
looks like it really looks like it's melted, though. Really. Probably from all the heat that's been coming in over the years.
Here's another interesting fact you didn't know. This year, the sun had like a reduction of heat, right? Have you heard about that? I don't know what it's called, but apparently we're supposed to have like a miniature ice age for like the better part of a year or so. But because of global warming, we won't really have that.
Oh, wow. Wait, is this supposed to happen in like 2020 or?
Yeah, this was all supposed to happen this year, actually. And the sun is actually retracting some of the heat. Well, I don't know if that's the right word to use. Solar waning? I forget what it was called.
I think the first word is the right word to use.
Yeah. But there's a lot less heat hitting the Earth, and because of that, well, there's a lot less of the sun's rays actually hitting the Earth, so which means there's supposed to be an ice age apparently, but because of global warming, we're not going to, have one. And greenhouse gases and such from vehicles in general are mainly the cause of this. I mean, the ozone layer is basically the only thing we have from being coming fried eggs. Do you agree?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm not, well, yeah, no, I know, you're right. The ozone. Yeah, you're right. I agree.
Now another thing is, while I do believe we need to take action towards climate change, I don't believe that going a certain radical approach will actually solve that problem. In the in the long term it will, but the problem is, well, what I think how we should execute this certain bill is, well, if you don't know the bill, it's called the Green New Deal. Okay. I feel like its execution is poor. Okay. Because it's calling for all this action in 10 years. All right. Like the complete rearrangement of the infrastructure of this country in 10 years.
Wait, now are we specifically talking about the U.S. or
the U.S.? The U.S.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
The U.S. in general. This new bill is supposed to, like I said, completely restructure the entirety of the United States, make every vehicle electric, basically phase out airplanes in general using high-speed rail, and then probably by getting rid of, well, I don't think that's going to happen, but they want to get rid of nuclear power plants as well, which I believe is one of the cleanest forms of energy.
Whoa!
Even though it has a lot of risk.
That is a lot. It sound. It sounds like they're trying to have an idealistic future that we thought we were gonna have once we hit 2020. Like, you know how there was like those future shows with all the flying cars and stuff like that. That's what it sounds like they're trying to have in the U.S. right now.
That's true. That's what I think is going on too. But the problem with that is the time frame. My problem with that is the time frame. You see, the challenge is all right. Now the lawmakers that are making this bill, when questioned about the loss of jobs, they say, "Oh, we can just create more jobs by building offshore wind farms and stuff like that." Well, that's not a bad idea. The problem is, what will happen after this entire program is complete, okay? What will happen? You'll have millions and millions of people unemployed, just like the unemployment crisis right now, except it'll probably be 10 times worse. So again, I don't really agree with the execution of the law or the bill, sorry. I don't believe in the execution. It needs to be modified. Now, instead of 10 years, I would say 20 years is more realistic.
I agree with you there. And plus, another thing is, it's like the guys who are making the laws, they probably don't even know how it goes down in the field. Like, they're not in the field to understand how it works. So they can't really just, like give out a command without knowing how things are going to work and expect it to be done in this certain amount of time.
That's very true. But yeah, I agree with that. The main thing is 20 years is much more likely. Instead of phasing out airplanes, we should probably try to find more ways to make them cleaner. Okay. Because I don't think this will be the end of air power or air travel as we know it. It will not be the end.
Yeah, of course. I agree.
This will not be the end. We need to utilize more air resources.
Right.
So I think making airplanes cleaner would be much more idealistic. Plus, another problem with this bill is the fact that fossil fuels companies such as ExxonMobil and what's it called? BP, they all have an economic grip
Mm.
on the government, if that makes sense.
What do you mean by that exactly?
So think about this, all right?
Hmm.
We'll use China as an example. China is really big on fossil fuels, okay?
Right. Yeah.
Like literally their entire population depends on it.
Hmm.
So what do you do when all of a sudden fossil fuels just gets cut off, all right?
Mm.
Like their main source of energy and main source of jobs suddenly just disappear. What's going to
Oh,
happen?
their
Exactly.
whole,
The whole system will collapse. And that's the
right.
problem when certain things have a monopoly over a country. That's the
Yeah.
problem with that. Because
Oh,
when
I
that
see what
source disappears, then it's plunged into chaos overnight.
Hmm.
Plus, I don't see it happening because it's not just economic power that these companies possess; it's also political power. You know,
Yeah.
like they'll lobby to the death till they get certain parts of the law changed.
Yeah, I know what you mean. A lot of our economical problems that happen in the U.S. specifically have to also deal with political problems because everyone in this country does things for money. So yeah,
I
or
mean,
at least that's how I see the
that's
world.
literally the only way you can survive. If you don't have money,
Yeah,
you can't really survive. So,
I mean, yeah, you're right. So, but
and
that's just
especially in blue collar communities, that's another thing
mm,
that has to also be addressed. So I think that they should go back to the drawing board, and those representatives and senators who are making the Green New Deal should go back to the drawing board, completely rip out everything, change everything about it, because the execution is poor. Okay.
yeah. I think they should make a more fair system so that everyone at the end of the day can keep their jobs and still try to make the world better. Try to make it.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
keep your job while at the same time you help the world
Yeah.
not suffer from climate change even more.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
let's shift gears. Let's change from our original topic of climate
Hmm.
change. It's getting a little too serious. Let's
Yeah.
talk about something a bit more lighthearted.
Hmm.
How does that sound?
Yeah. Of course. Go right ahead. I'm not gonna stop you.
Let's start with simps.
Ah, yes. Simps.
Simps.
You love and hate to see them.
They're everywhere. Ever since this year has actually they've existed longer than you think they have.
Whew.
It's just that they're now starting to rear their ugly heads.
Yeah. I see it. I see it.
Now here's an interesting question for you, okay?
Hmm.
Do you believe that being a simp is a phase? Okay? Or are you stuck with being a simp forever? All right, now hear me out. I
Hmm.
feel that the reason I believe this is because, well,
Wait. What did you say? You believe?
I believe that being a simp is a phase.
Mm.
Is a
Okay.
phase in a man's life and some females.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
What do you think?
But I definitely agree with you. Being a simp is a phase. Is a phase. You know, not everybody was like trained to not be a simp. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody got
Exactly.
that whole like training. You know, like for example, when I was growing up, it was like treat a female right, make her feel like a queen, and then you'll get her. That was like back in elementary school days. So every male at least had a point in their life where they had to be a simp for the one they liked, or at least that's what I think. It's probably going to be some people who weren't a simp at all. Lucky them. But yeah. So yeah, I feel like simping is a phase. Some people are still going through it, some people are not.
And I remember watching this one video when simping was a really starting to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this one man or this one guy who said that where I got this idea from. He essentially said that simping is a phase and stuff like that.
Right.
But the truth is that even though, like, in a simp's mind, it's everything is revolving around being with a female. Okay. Everything is revolved around that.
Mm-hmm.
Like going to the gym, for example.
Right.
Oh, I can go to the gym if it means I get to be with Brittany or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything is revolved around that, and it's just sad.
It is. It really is. But then again, it has come to that point, though. It really has.
It's just I don't really. There was even one that just took it too far that I saw that today, and I'm just shaking my head because of it. I'm pretty sure you saw it, but there was a simp who was suing Twitch. Now, I'm not going to go too much into the details of the lawsuit because it's pretty not safe for work. But essentially, this simp is suing Twitch for recommending him female streamers or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you have to literally subscribe to them and stuff. But to that, and he's suing, and guess how much he's suing them for? Guess.
For how much?
$25 million. Jiyani?
Yeah.
You good?
Sorry, you said 25 million? Hold on.
25
Sorry,
million.
that was a lot. I was just shocked. What?
$25 million. That's
wow. Okay.
I feel like that. I feel like he's just doing it for publicity at this point.
I think it's a stunt. It probably is a stunt. There's no way you have that much money and you're simping like that. Like, no, that's a stretch.
In all honesty, I feel like, according to sources, the man actually has had a bunch of absurd lawsuits against other companies. Like he's sued, like he has a history of suing other companies such as Twitch for absurd reasons and for absurd amount of money. So
like in the millions?
Yeah, like in the millions. Without a legitimate reason.
That's
I don't really know how this man gets his money because the truth is he's suing for $25 million. If he loses the case, it's a double L for him because not only he's not getting $25 million, but he also has to pay court costs and stuff and his lawyer fees and stuff like that. So it's a lose case for him. I don't know why he's suing. He's just doing it for attention at this point.
Yeah, and literally not only that, you have the entire internet that's going to clown you for the rest of your life. Like, dude, do you know how much we could do with $25 million? Literally,
you could do a whole bunch with $25 million.
We could probably solve that little climate problem situation that's going on, and maybe have to they could actually use like 10 years in order to solve that problem instead of $25 million, or maybe even more.
That's true. But I feel like it'll take a lot more money to solve that problem. It'll probably take in the trillions.
Yeah, probably.
It'll take trillions for the U.S. to completely change it. But you shouldn't really... I think the reason for the lawsuit is absurd. And the guy I think there's something up with him. Like, he needs help. He needs help.
Yeah, dude probably trying to get noticed.
He probably is. Or he's probably using Twitch as a way to fund his addiction.
Probably. And if you said that and he made a statement about it, I wouldn't be surprised.
In all honesty, it's actually sad. Like this man actually needs to get help.
No, he really does. He no that actually needs help though. Like seriously.
Like he needs to get help for that. Because
No female. Well, not no female. That's a stretch. Like no Twitch female should be worth $25 million. I said what I said. You know.
hey, do you have any controversial opinions you'd like to share?
That's a good question. Me personally, I'm not. Ooh, why my voice go high? Sorry. Me personally, I don't really think about controversial topics. So if I'm gonna answer your question, no. But we can talk about other stuff. I mean, I'm right here.
Here's a what's it called? I remember this one report about I remember seeing this today. I don't know. Again, I don't really want to dive into politics too much. But I kind of wanted to bring this up, but apparently Iran has a warrant for Donald Trump.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they set out a warrant for him for his arrest.
Oh wait, I literally just saw that about I saw that on my Instagram feed on one of my stories. Yeah.
It's crazy. But Iran can't really do anything. Whether he is or is not president. Because technically, although Iran I think is part of Interpol can't really do anything against Trump in this situation because if I remember correctly, is the US part of Interpol?
I'm not too sure. I think
they are. It's just I don't think they're going to punish Trump for that, or they're going to have the Iranians arrest him.
Yeah. Plus, in all honesty, if they tried to and they got really close to it, Trump would probably start a war against Iran just because.
Well, I think the Iranians are just waiting for him to get out of office.
Yeah.
In this November.
I'm pretty sure literally once he gets out of office, it's gonna be a war zone for him and anybody.
It really will be, because, well, I mean, he's a billionaire. He can afford security and stuff like that. So it's not surprising that this man can organize his own militia.
If we're gonna be honest here, security, depending on which security he hires, they're probably gonna stab him in the back too.
Here, you want to know a controversial opinion I have?
Go right ahead.
Mainly about guns, okay? Now, my opinion on guns is that, again, the Second Amendment applies, but I feel like assault weapons should be banned. Okay. Now, again, I've seen many people go back and forth about it. Now, I don't think for those saying that you need an assault weapon such as an AK-47 or an AR-15 to hunt, no, you don't. You really don't.
You really don't. That's a little bit like overkill.
It's not necessary. I mean, there are gun enthusiasts out there.
Right.
But I mean, if you want to guard your home, if you want to feel secure and safe, if you want to do open carry, just get a pistol, man.
Yeah.
Just get a pistol. You don't have to. There's actually a senator, I believe. I did a report about this last year or something like that. This senator who wanted to bring back the assault weapon ban.
And for what?
So if you don't understand, what happened is back in 1995, there was this senator from Wisconsin who was a Democrat who introduced this new assault weapons ban, which got passed by President Bill Clinton,
Right.
who signed it, and it was essentially an assault weapons ban, basically saying, oh, these kind of weapons cannot be sold in gun stores. All right.
Right.
And the thing is, it only had a few weapons on it, but such as the AK-47. But the thing is, because the AK-47 has so many variants to it, it was able to slip through the cracks. And many people were, quote-unquote, legal to buy it. So basically, what this new bill is, and I've read it myself at one point, is to basically update the list and include a lot more guns.
Ooh.
So that way they won't really like be bought and used by people to hurt other people. However, if we're going to stop, here's another thing I need to say. If we're going to stop assault weapons from being banned and stuff, we need to extend more resources towards mental health, which is becoming much, much more of a problem than people discuss it as. And I see this mainly on the red side, saying that, oh, we need more resources to mental health and stuff like that. And I completely agree with that. We can do the assault weapons ban and mental health resources. That way we can prevent tragedies like Parkland.
Yeah, it
doesn't mean we're going to stop them completely. It just means we're going to slow them down.
Yeah, that's definitely understandable.
If we can slow it down, that will be nice. I mean, the VA does that, but again, it's only for veterans. So I believe if we made an institution for like everyone and stuff like that, I feel like everyone with a mental illness, they can get checked in and then they can get the help they need. So that way we can have a better society. Most tragedies are usually the effect of a mental illness, you know. If we can just get one person to help, then we could also slow down the amount of tragedies.
How would they be able to help exactly, though?
Again, I mean, there will be relapses and stuff like that, but I believe that with time, I think that we will be able to accomplish this goal if it's actually used at all. Which at this point, there's a lot of stuff going on that I don't think that this issue will be addressed until very much later.
Yeah, with the entire Black Lives Matter movement, with all the rape accusations being brought back into the main topic, I feel like it's going to take a minute before anyone really starts talking about gun problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah, until another tragedy happens, then people will start talking about it again.
Yeah,
it won't happen until it happens.
But
that's what I've proven happened. That's the theory of mine that's been proven true. Which, again, Black Lives Matter died out, and then it didn't get traction until, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the movement never really died out. It was just not a lot of people were talking about it than it should have been talked about until another incident happened.
That's true. That's very true. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of this podcast. I thank you all for listening. And just an update, we've officially made a website for this podcast. You check it out on Buzzsprout. It's Buzzsprout / or just look up Chat Rewind on Buzzsprout. We're also on Spotify now. If we can get a lot of subscriptions on Spotify and just a lot of people listening to our Spotify feed, I'll probably link both our website and the Spotify down in the description below. I'm thankful for all of you that have joined me on this wonderful journey. My main goal is to hit episode 10. If we can hit 10 episodes of this podcast, I will be extremely grateful. And I thank you all for joining us. Jiyani, I especially thank you for joining this podcast.
Of course.
It was a pleasure having you.
Yeah, of course, no problem, man.
And I will be back soon enough. Thank you for listening.